Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to 10 Forward. Once again, we're here to show you some new content, and I managed to convince a few more of our developers to come on stream. Maybe at some point you'll meet the whole team, but I'm very happy to, of course, have Jeremy here again
Hello.
to answer all your questions later. And today we have Phil and Alex here. And I'm gonna leave them to introduce themselves real quick. So, how about you start, Phil?
Hey, I'm Phil. I've been working in the industry since 2008. I've worked on various projects, but most recently working on Star Trek Online, obviously, with Jeremy and Alex and the rest of the team. Um, I also do a tabletop game jam at Tabletop Scotland, because Scotland's where I'm based. I run a role-playing convention called Compulsion, and I dart around through a number of other projects which you can chase me up about by just finding my socials and seeing where I am. And that's me, Alex.
Hello, my name is Alex, and I work as a junior game designer in Deca, but mostly on the system side on Star Trek Online. I handle most of the events and their respective rewards, and I also work on updates like this one that we're going to be talking about today. I'm a massive MMO RPG and just RPG games in general fan, and it's been my dream to work as a designer on a game that I like. And would you look at that? STO is one of the games that I like. So
You
yeah,
two are like
I'm
the
really
far ends of the spectrum here, with Phil being a veteran for almost 20 years. And Alex, this is your first game job, right?
absolutely, yeah. I'm absolutely stoked. It's it's been a dream of mine to work on something like this.
That's why you did all the work.
True.
Revealing the real secrets here. All right, let's do our stream question. Sorry, my cat
Our
is walking over
icebreaker.
my keyboard. Yes, our icebreaker. Although I think the ice is quite broken, but I do like to know these things. So I want to ask, if you had to choose a race from Star Trek, anything but human, which would you choose? I think for me, it's a little obvious. If you look closely at my picture, you might be able to tell it's a Trill. I love them. Um, I mean, the thought of all that knowledge that I could maybe unlock, but I also just think the culture is very cool, and there's quite a few Trill characters in the shows that I really loved over the years. Most recently, of course, in Discovery. So they're very near and dear to my heart. So what about you, Jeremy?
Would Q be cheating? I think it would.
I mean,
Um,
yeah, a little bit.
I'll go with this. Also, might still be a little cheating, but I'd say Elarian actually. I love the idea of these extremely long-lived species that have sight beyond the basic senses. You know, a sense for what is right in the universe, and like a very strong culture of storytelling and listening to other people's stories. I think those are things that I really identify with. And I'd love to live for thousands of years. That'd be awesome.
Eternal lead designer.
Oh gosh. Oh, okay.
All right, how about you, Phil?
The original series Gorn, because I remember watching Star Trek when it was first released in the UK, and saying there with my father, and that episode was really, really substantial for me. And at the time, because I was young, I couldn't see the fitting of the suit. Obviously, it wasn't a suit, and so
Oh, that was
it
an
was
actual
just.
lizard person that they casted.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
they're real,
So,
and we all
so
have them.
yeah. So I was, yeah, it was really, really cool. Star Trek means a lot to me. I grew up with it, as I've said, as well as a number of other franchises. And yeah, that Gorn episode, let this be our last battlefield. I might be wrong. Is sort of like a precursor to some of the things that you see in the next generation, like Darmok and things like this, about this learning to like live with each other and understand each other within like the cultures, which I think is a really, really key thing for Star Trek.
I love that. Very retro. All right, Alex, what do you say?
Well, I don't really have such a long story to tell, but my pick would be the Tellarites, because who doesn't like some space dwarfs, right? Where are my Rock and Stone fans here? Where are my Deep Rock Galactic fans?
If you don't rock and stone, you ain't going home.
Rock and Stone! Okay. Yeah.
Okay, now I'm a big fan actually. Maybe I need to change my answer for next time. All right, before we get started with the more nitty-gritty, I want to remind everyone there's a giveaway today. Not a ship today because we tried to stay on theme. So today we are giving 500 Lobi to 5 players. So as always, be active in the chat, and somewhere in this stream we'll trigger the giveaway and have 5 people win that. Yeah, I see the excitement. I said the right thing this time, not like the first time with the coupons. I do mean Lobi, so stick around and you get the chance to win some of them.
And all they have to do is say a few words in the chat on occasion, right?
Yes. Yes,
Yep.
just keep active. I'm not saying what time frequency, but you don't have to post every minute or anything. Just say
engage.
something in the conversation, engage, talk to other players, talk to us. We'll also do some question answers at the end of the stream, for example, as always. All right, let's get into it. First, I wanted to talk to Phil and Alex a tiny bit about what you guys do. How do you get an item into the game, or like how does it start the process for like a new item, like a uniform or a new weapon or something?
Alex, you should kick off on this. You've got more items in this box.
Okay, so how do you get an item in the game? It's very easy to take inspiration from different things around you. Like when you look at something like, let's say you look at one game and you see a hook and you're like, well, maybe we can translate this into Star Trek, but how can we flavor this to actually fit the Star Trek universe? Because obviously we can't really go too magic-y in this game. It has to be explained in a sort of a sciencey way. So in a way, you have to try to you look at something and then you try to translate it into Star Trek, and then you try to think of a way to make it work in the game. And if it sounds fun to you, if you play the game enough, and as a designer, you probably should. You can automatically detect whether this game would sorry, not this game, the item would be enjoyable to the players or not. So
Alex, I know that you in particular, you've had a tendency to take inspiration from other video games for a few things that you've implemented into SEO. I know that, like, for example, the sword, if I remember correctly, Beowulf's Blade, last year's Halloween event, you created that. And am I right in remembering that a lot of that inspiration came from, was it Monster Hunter that started
yeah,
that thought?
one of the first things I wanted to create in the game was actually a sword and shield, but which was very similar to the charge blade in Monster Hunter, but it's kind of hard to translate it. But maybe this is an idea for the back burner. Who knows? But yeah, the Beowulf blade, the Halloween weapon, it's the first greatsword that we've had in this game. We have had big weapons, yeah, for example, like the presidential hand axe, but we've never had a sword of this scale given to the players. And me, as a massive fan of fantasy stuff, I really wanted to include something like this. And I was trying to figure out like where this would fit, like in what event. Like for example, let's say in the Halloween events, we can always include something medieval, or if in the winter events, we can always have something magic-y because of Q's influence in his shenanigans.
I
So
think
yeah,
that's kind of something to mention. You know, if anybody out there is just a heavy gamer and has thought about getting into games as an actual designer at some point, it is possible. Alex is proof for it. Like, he got lucky in landing this position, but the vast majority of the skills that make him a good designer for our team is a knowledge and an analytic eye at what makes a game fun. Not just STO, but any games that have inspired him over the years. So it's good for you guys to brush up those skills and stay aware of what modern games are doing, and always think about like how it could be adapted and what makes it fun, those sorts of things. Phil, so as a senior designer, you tend to be more of the driver behind the actual outlines and the process of some of our features. So with these Lobi store updates in particular, can you talk about how the process is seen from your perspective? Like how do we kick off the pipeline for systems design?
Yeah, generally we start off with a brief. So Jeremy lays down a brief of like what we need to introduce within something like this set. And within that brief, there's a reasonable amount of leeway that we can like act within. And then we have a meeting where we talk about like the specific like concepts and what we want to do within this like bundle. Talk about take that away and then develop those bundles. When I'm working with somebody like Alex, I spend some time like talking to Alex about like the designs as well. He tends to come back to me and show me like the stuff that he's working on, and then once we get to a solid written documentation, which I am fairly like solid on, that documentation goes back towards like Jeremy, and he says no, and then we do something completely different. um,
Classic.
in general, though, with this set, we had a really good like kickoff. We had a really good set of ideas. Alex mentioned a hook. I think the term "get over here" possibly links with that hook in like some way in some like type of video game franchise out there. And it's about adapting those things and making them feel like they're part of Star Trek, and most importantly, Star Trek Online. We have to think about like the balance and the meta going forwards. In the past, a couple of the ships that I've designed have been the Abina and the Ark Royal. So Antimatter Interweave is mine. If you love it or hate it, that's from me. The Ark Royal, Jeremy gave me the opportunity to do an enhanced like science ship. And to be honest, I'll always like pick up the science ships, and I'm still like threatening Jeremy with doing something with like mines, lots and lots of mines. But we need to like be able to like fit that within the categorization and the opportunities without upsetting the meta too much, but by moving it. And when Jeremy's not here, I do a little bit of reviewing of like the like process. I also integrate with like different teams across the board and act as a liaison for like the other designers to go forward. But
And helping
what
out
Jeremy,
communication
sorry,
across disciplines as well, like with the
yeah.
VFX artist and audio and things like that. Yep.
So
All the things that I can delegate to a senior to take care of me for me.
So it's really great working with this design team. This design team are fabulous. Like Alex and Nico, who's like our junior content designer, both showed exactly that understanding of games throughout. They're both absolutely like fabulous and invaluable like members of the team. Just today, I was talking to Miku, who you've met before, about the Chris's set that she's making for another part of the game, which I can't mention at the moment. So quiet about that, but it was a really good conversation. And it was Miku who realized my original concept for the Hollow Ship, which was the summer ship as well. So this sort of co-working and cross-working really helps us like develop really good stuff and to like push the boundaries of the game and push the boundaries of the equipment and the stuff that we can provide with you, thanks to Jeremy as well.
And actually, a lot of the thanks for these particular features that we're going to be talking about today actually comes from Art. We kind of fell into a favorable position with this season 34 updates with both the event rewards that we're going to talk about, like what you get from the season event, as well as some additions that we're making to the Lobi store. in both of these features cases, we essentially had existing art assets that Thomas and the rest of the artists had already been working on, that were interested in building and interested in getting into STO, that we were essentially able to just pick and choose from a library of existing or almost existing or half existing art assets, and essentially just flesh them out, get them finished, and get them in the hands of the players. I want to start with the Lobi Store editions because these are mostly discovery themed. And again, I think they're all discovery themed. And again, the inspiration for this came largely from our art teams because, you know, we did the, what was it called? Partners in Crime lockbox that we did with our anniversary earlier in this year, which was also Discovery Season 5 themed. And we made a lot of requests behind the scenes for additional assets that could be made for that lockbox. But many of them, we just didn't have the right time in the pipeline for us to finish them up and get them into that lockbox. So we ended up with this little pile of extra stuff. And that's what you're going to be seeing a lot of today, is we took a lot of those extra things and finished them up and are now putting them on the Lobi store so that players can get their hands on them. So what I want to do is I'll basically introduce each item, and then either Alex or Phil, as you have more information, you can basically take it away and describe them. But this first one I don't think really has any systems. You can already see me showing this off on the stream here. We have a costume unlock for the Starfleet 32nd Century dress uniform. I'm not wearing the canon colors, of course, and I might have missed, there might be a belt or gloves, so I apologize if it's not as complete as you get, but this is a feature that you can buy on the Lobi store. Hello, Tellarite. Interrupting my live stream. That you can then unlock in the tailor and customize and mix and match with other uniform details and things like that. This is for Federation characters only. Just know that before you buy it. Folks that are Klingon can buy it because there's some ways that you can get Federation bridge officers and they can wear it. So just be aware. You won't be able to use it on yourself, but if you have any Fed boffs, they would be able to. So that's the first of these. And then going to get into some of the actual reward details. I came to this map because it has better lighting to show off the costume. So let me switch to another of the costumes that can be unlocked in this Lobi store set. This, again, colors are not canon, but this is, and I think I got all the parts unlocked. This is the 32nd Century Breen outfit that will be unlocked when you obtain the 32nd Century Breen armor.
Okay, that looks amazing.
Again, the colors aren't canon. I'm basically just using the default of what my player had in the tailor. I didn't have a lot of time to set this up, but yeah. So let me go ahead and show you guys the tooltip, and then allow Phil or Alex, either of you want to take it away and start talking about some of the design behind this item.
Well, I designed this one, so let me explain. So this is the Breen refrigeration armor, which is basically a transformed EV suit from the Breen race. It's very much adapted to like defending you against environmental damage and also radiation damage, because since it's technically a EV suit, those resistances translate into that, and it gives you an ability which cloaks you, and then allows you to use melee attacks to take down your opponents. So the inspiration from that came from the Breen being able to use cloaking devices, and also the item itself. There's nothing really like that in the game. The stealth module that we have is relatively underused. So yeah, like the inspiration was to just give stealth players a bit more oomph to their playstyle, because going into stealth also grants you a few buffs, especially rewarding polar on damage play. And the melee strikes they are also infused with Polaron damage, so the buff doesn't go to waste even if you don't use Polaron. And it's regularly usable. It's on a 60-second lockout, and that's really about it. Relatively simple, effective, and something that I hope you guys enjoy when you test out.
I'm going to go ahead and move to a combat map so that I can show this in action and the rest of the items that we're going to be showing as well. Like I said, I came to our space dock because I thought it would have better lighting, but it's still relatively dark. You guys got to see this stuff. The Breen armor in particular has this really nice, like, what did I call it? Specular, I think, where there's like this reflective undertone, almost like a oil sheen that shows up in certain lighting. It's really nice, really subtle patterning to some of the sections as well.
We need the map just for showing off cool uniform stuff.
We do, yeah. So let me go ahead and get a.
Can I just say this is still my favorite art that we've done in a while for the WoW event? Still in love with it. It's still my background.
Okay. I was hiding these, but spoilers, don't look at my bar. So here's the cloak and dagger ability you can use. We got custom stealth effects for it. And then the button itself turns into basically a version of sweeping strikes, right? But that you get for free and does cold damage and no, Polaron damage in addition to melee.
Okay, that is a really cool effect. I like that.
Don't look at my bar, I said. Guys, come on. Spoilers.
What did we say about spoilers? If you saw anything, you didn't.
Yeah, you didn't. Okay. That's. Was there anything else you wanted to share about the armor, or should I move on to the next item?
No, I said my 2 cents, so yeah, go on.
Okay. The next thing I want to show is a new weapon, a new ground weapon, that is not Breen themed, but we finally got the 32nd Century Federation phaser rifle into the game. We haven't had this rifle in the game yet. It's really great, cool geo. I really like it. But then it has a special ability that I'll let you talk about, but let me show it. Well, first of all, the secondary fire. We have similar firing modes for some other weapons. We shorthand basically call it a multi-bolt. It's kind of a multi-target sniper rifle. If I had multi-enemies here in front of me, then we would be able to see it shoot both of them. Kind of an arrow cone, but multiple sniper bolts. And then the tertiary, I'll let you take it away after I show this off. Whoa, what's going on here? Go ahead, Alex. Tell us what's going on here.
Okay, so in the series, you can see the weapon transforming from a pistol to a rifle and vice versa. So this is one of our first transforming weapons in the game. The point of transforming is to basically make like a small combo. Because the pistol, both of its abilities, the primary and secondary fire, have expose effects on them. And also they're very much focused on crowd control as well, like stunning or slowing. And the rifle itself, it has exploit effects, which combines very well, obviously, with the expose effects. So you can trigger like big damage if you want to do so. And to enhance that, whenever you transform the rifle, you also see this big EMP happening. And that also gives you 20% damage buff for, was it 8 seconds, I believe? Yeah. For a few seconds.
It's 8 to 10, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, it's 8 seconds. Yeah. So yeah, basically this weapon kind of encourages you to transform back and forth between the weapons, between the modes, I mean, so that you can make full use of like all of the abilities it has. So you can deal the most damage that you can.
Mm-hmm. There's also, while you're in pistol mode, the secondary fire is a stun bolt that I think does additional damage compared to a standard stun bolt. So you can also make use of the different firing modes for different purposes if you feel the need. This, I will say, it looks pretty seamless, I think, the way that it ended up being implemented, but I cannot tell you guys how difficult it was to manage our whole geosystem, our weapon geosystem, to make this actually function.
It was a nightmare.
We're probably not going to be doing any further transforming weapons without some new technology.
First and final transforming weapon.
Yeah, the first and final. Yeah.
Well, that makes it
There
more
is one
special,
thing
right?
I'll call out to players would probably notice this soon, but I don't want to disappoint anybody. Like there is no holster for this because technically the weapon geo is just a visual effect. It's not an actual weapon that you're holding. So you can't tell, but can you hear me spamming the H button?
Yes.
There is no holster animation, sadly, because of the way that we had to get this hooked up to properly transform.
Can you show the tooltip for a bit on the threadability?
Oh yeah, yeah. Let me show the weapon tooltip in general, which includes that. So anybody wanting to get a screenshot of the functionality at home? This is the levelless version, so it can be upgraded even further and turned to gold, all that good stuff. But we're just showing off the levelless versions for this live stream.
The block is also coming within the next days.
Yeah. Okay, so the weapon, the armor, let's show off the kit modules next. So let's start with the emergency transport. Tell me about this one.
All right.
Emergency
So,
teleport, sorry.
have you ever found yourself in a situation where you're being constantly crowd controlled by 7 enemies at once, and then you imagined, oh man, what if I could just press a button and just remove all this and move out of danger? Well, now
Such
you're
an
going to be able
infomercial.
to.
Has this ever happened to you?
Great ad, actually. I posted like this.
I specialize in talks like that. So yeah. Anyway, yeah. So when you press this, you can see it says teleport back 10 meters and then also cleanse crowd control debuffs. That includes holds, stuns, roots, and slows and you also gain immunity to them for 3 seconds so that you don't get just chain CC'd after you teleport. And yeah, just a very simple. It also placates nearby enemies so that you don't get just instantly burst down when you leave. And you can see, boom, you teleport back. If you were to stun yourself somehow, if you were to get stunned, you're also going to cleanse that stun and be able to move instantly.
Mm-hmm.
You can use this ability while you're crowd controlled. So yeah,
47 Alpha Tango in the chat has just pointed out, yes, very relevant to the current storyline, right? Because this can cleanse the board root tendrils that you might get hit with when fighting
absolutely,
against the board.
absolutely, yeah. Everything has been thought of.
We're preparing you for the next big battle.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Gather your arms, ladies and gentlemen.
I really like the visuals for this, so let me go ahead and do some dev cheats to slow down time so we can see them in action. And then I'm gonna detach my camera even for even more cinematic awesomeness. Boop boop. Yeah. It's not a very long range teleport. It's basically just enough to get you out of melee range and let you escape whatever melee you've found yourself involved in.
Grenade range.
Just out of grenade range, sure. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just noticing that there's a lot of people asking about the prices on these. So let me go ahead and actually show the store. So
Yeah, I was about to say at the end we can do this or no.
Well, these are the ones we've talked about so far. We'll get to the Chronoton Attractor in just a minute, but each of these are 200 Lobi a piece. So if you win the giveaway, you can get any 2 of these for essentially free. Lucky you. Okay, let's show the Chronoton Attractor next. Oh, but I can't use it on these guys because I made them unstoppable. Let me summon a more worthy
Cheated yourself into a corner.
victim. Let me get a victim that I can actually use this on. So tell us about the Chronoton Attractor before I show it off.
All right.
I think
so
this was the Mortal Kombat hook that you were talking about
indeed,
earlier, right?
Some of you might have caught that I mentioned some hooks earlier. Then yeah, this is what inspired me to create this ability. In Discovery, I believe season 5, it was used to draw out Krenim time bug, or a chronophage as it's called, out from the reactor of the ship, I believe. So we translated this into the game by making it basically like a hook from Mortal Kombat or Pudge from Dota, where you pull the enemy towards you and they also get held for a bit, 5 seconds, and they take a tiny bit of radiation damage just to add some flavor.
It's very
Yeah,
pretty.
you can see since it's a chronitone, it has the beautiful rainbow effects. And it also has 4 charges, if you've noticed. So you can use this whenever you want, and
You
however
just
many
keep
times you want.
yo-yoing people around all over the place.
Yep.
So you told me earlier it's not on the tooltip, but just you'll figure this out soon enough if you start playing with it. There's a 15-second recharge for each individual charge. So this is a toy I could see working really well with some folks' melee builds to kind of yank in the enemy and then be able to pummel them, or even yank in multiples if you can tab through and burn through your charges real quick to get everybody in range.
Mm-hmm. I love melee combat in this game, even if it might sound weird. But yeah, I just love playing around with melee stuff. So yeah, I wanted to make something fun for all of us.
It'll fit very well with a certain dagger I might be building at the moment, but that's not with this set.
Oh, spoilers.
Spoilers, leaks, oh no.
We're not ready to talk about that yet, Phil. No, it's fine. Okay, so those are the ground tools I think that we have. And the last, but certainly not least, here is what you guys are all seeing on my bar here. Yes, we have some new vanity pets. I believe these are you babies, Phil, if you want to talk a little bit about them.
They are as well. Yes, so the Sanctuary Cervidae, or the Alice deer, as it's commonly known, comes in 5 varieties. We have the common up to the very rare jadeback. You get 1 pack, and you will get a random deer out of the pack. So you can look through all the color combinations. Me,
Right.
if you
Yep, I'll go through them, but yeah, so this is going to be bundled just like we've done with a lot of our previous pets, where you get. I think we're probably going to drop the price on this in the future. The reason Badgie was more expensive is because it included a combat pet option. So let's talk about dropping this price, probably the same as we did with others, okay? For release next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll go cycle through. So this is the common one.
Yeah.
The and then what do we have next? This is the purple bellied, which appropriately has a belly that is purple, right?
Oh no, how would I guess?
Oh, if you guys don't
this animal
recognize
so
these, they showed up very briefly in the final episode of Discovery. That's where these are from. They're actually a canon species that appeared on a world named Sanctuary. That's why we call them the Sanctuary Cervidae.
Oh, what? I think they're adorable.
Jadeback was the most rare, so let me skip over that
Yeah,
for now. Let's go to the.
They're absolutely super cute. I love them so much.
Powder
I love the
gray.
purple one the most.
I really like this color scheme,
Yeah,
kind of
it's
aquatic
gorgeous.
almost. And then the lilac. This is the one you like? Oh, that is pretty.
It's so good. I love it. And the animations as well. Like when it lifts up its hoof or something. It's so cute.
Yeah, they're really well animated. Like, I want them. I'm gonna get them. The way the fur looks is amazing.
You know, a little peek behind the curtain. This tail is actually a real big pain in the butt. Oh well, pun unintended. It's because we're using, essentially this is built on an existing rig that I think we either downloaded or got from Neverwinter as a place to start from. But if you know, actual deer have very small tails and they lay very tight against their posterior. But we have this creature with this huge fluffy tail, so a lot of extra time and effort on our animator's side had to go into getting this animated and making the fur cards also look nice when it animates and moves around and does its little antics. So yeah, props off to our animator and team for that extra effort.
Yeah, it does move incredibly smoothly. It looks really, really good.
Looks so fluffy, so cozy. So this is the rarest of the group, the Jadeback.
Yeah, and it was also a lot bigger when we originally got the model in. We had to reduce the size because it was cutting into the player character. But now it's looking really, really neat. and sweet.
And cute. They're cute.
They are adorable. I want all of them.
And
Well, you
clearly
can
not
get
a
them all.
combat pet.
Clearly not. No, these don't fight your enemies. they're too docile.
They could make a good distraction. I would be distracted.
Okay, so I think that's everything on the Lobi store. Was there anything else that either of you did I miss anything? Or
Yes,
anything
you
you wanted-
missed the space trait.
Oh gosh, you're right. I think I unlocked it. I'm not going to be able to show this off because I don't want to load a space map. But
No,
should
but I
exist.
can talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, here it is.
So the trait is called Enhance and Protect. It's about all the potential light pets or light critters you've created. That includes torpedoes, mines, any
Saucer
ships that you've
separation.
created. Yeah,
Yeah.
source of separation, everything. Digging all of those things out was a little bit of a joy. And what it does is every time you use a captain ability, up to 6 pets in a 10-kilometer radius have their critical chance, its accuracy, flight speed, and turn rate enhanced for the remainder of their lifetime. And it can be reapplied freely, but it does not stack, because if it's stacked, then you could do crazy things, and wasn't going to allow you to do crazy things. The boost is reasonably generous for the lifetime like effect. If you use it with like the right pets and with like the right builds, I can see this being a really like popular personal trait. And it was good fun to like build it and to like work out how these things like worked within the game, of which the biggest pain in the posterior, or the tail, as we say now with the Sanctuary server die, is actually like setting up the personal trait thing, because that part of the editor is very old, and it needs a lot of love. But I got through it now, and now I've done one personal trait. I've got a whole bunch more potentially like coming soon. So yes, good fun.
So this
Hopefully,
this trait,
sorry.
I believe only. Sorry, I had some questions from the chat and from myself. It only enhances your own pets, right? Anything that you
Yes.
own. Okay.
Yes, only the things that you own.
But to restate, because we kind of glossed over it, the duration of this buff is forever, as long as they stay alive, right? So once you've
100%.
used this and given this buff to any of your pets, yeah, it's forever.
Which means that with every captain ability, it targets up to 6 in a 10-kilometer like radius zone. Which means that if you're firing a lot of torpedoes or a lot of mines, and you know how much I like mines, then there's that real potential to have all of these things enhanced. And I can think of a number of ships, including the ones like Mayo's like created, like the Vervin Obelisk, which sings with its pets already. So you could just make it sing louder.
Mm-hmm. And that's actually something to call out here. First of all, I think your documentation just says 6. The end game says 10. So I'm thinking that we enhanced it at some point during iteration to do 10 pets. But you know, it does, since it can actually buff your mines. Things like the flight speed is something that will end up making your mines more reliable if they fly 50% faster to get towards your targets. So keep that in mind. And of course, crit chance is always helpful for pretty much any pet, because it's going to do something that can crit 90% of the time. Yeah, I saw a question in the chat about why only 10? You can have so many more pets than that. Well, come on, we need a limit. It's got to be some sort of reasonable limit. For
just
performance.
pack up your captain abilities. Have a lot of captain abilities. It just triggers every time you use one. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay, the price of that, I'll open the store again here, just double check. Space gear, it's 200, like all of our other traits have been. Is that everything now? Did I forget anything else? I hope not.
No, that's everything.
All
Nice.
right.
I still have a couple questions from players, but I also want to remind everyone the giveaway is, we're drawing winners right now. please have your messages open in Twitch, because last week we did a giveaway and there's still someone out there that wasn't able to message because the settings weren't on. So I have to be able to message you so you can tell me your character name. Otherwise, I cannot send you a prize. And I had a question. Oh yeah, this is one moment. Somebody asked if the ground items we just showed, if they're affected by Mud's cooldown, because apparently that happened in the past.
They should be. Actually, the chronoton attractor might not be, because it's not technically a cooldown, it's a charge-based thing. So I think it probably won't be affected by the kit cooldown modifier in MUDs. But the other one should. The emergency transport should just be like in any other universal kit module.
Nice. And somebody asked, the transport, does it require flat ground or does it traverse gaps and obstructions?
We're still working on that, to be perfectly honest. The way that teleport works, it has some raycasting safety measures in place to make sure that players don't teleport outside of walls and things like that. So it can get hung up on bumps in the geometry or hills or inclines and stuff like that. But we've tried to do a little bit. It actually transports you, I think, a few units off the ground to try and compensate for that a bit. But we're also still looking into it on the back end, on the tech side. So yes, you'll probably run into a few locations where it doesn't teleport you the full 10 meters, but the other effects will be just fine.
And in fact, I'm talking to one of our Neverwinter colleagues about that tomorrow. So hopefully I will manage to get some ancient magic to help our future game.
Yeah. So
Nice.
good question, and very knowledgeable person, whoever that was, asking about how teleports work. Clearly, you've experienced some teleport shenanigans in your own gameplay.
It's funny, they ask about gaps and they're literally called OA gap. So maybe they're just really concerned about gaps in the game.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Okay,
that's what I saw.
Move on to, but if that's, and I see we have our 5 winners. Congratulations, guys. Yeah, looking forward to seeing what you. Yeah, send a post to Counselor Suna after you spend your Lobi to let us know what you bought.
Yes, we're very curious about it. And also, just for bragging rights, you should show it off to everyone in our Discord.
I think you guys should
I
buy
think-
the new logo.
Yeah, somebody asked if we're gonna make Star Trek Online 2. The answer is, as always, if you buy all the Lobi, we can think about it.
The more ships you buy, the more it becomes a possibility. All right, we're going to move on to, now that we've looked at all the Lobi store offerings, next we're going to be actually showing you guys a preview of the event rewards that will be associated with the appointment event that will be coming out with our new content drop, which we already announced, right? So I can say things?
Yes, we did
Okay.
announce today. Anyone who has missed it, there's a very short blog online. But next Tuesday, so in 1 week, we have a new chapter being dropped.
It will include a new episode as well as a new TFO, space TFO. And along with those, of course, is a appointment event, which will allow you to get daily progress and progress towards a reward. And we're going to show you what that reward is right now. So it is a ground set. Why don't you give us a bit of a primer on this, Alex, since you created it? What are we looking at?
All right. If you guys haven't played the Star Trek Elite Force games, this set is inspired from there. It features multiple abilities seen in those series. For example, maybe the most noticeable thing on the screen right now, the arc welder. It used to be a tool, but now it's a weapon. So this weapon has 3 unique abilities, and the first one is a stream of lightning, which deals electric damage and applies damage over time stacks depending on, like, there's like a small chance to apply them, and you can see welding beam. And on the third on the third stack, if you attack an enemy with 3 stacks, did you see the small ball going out? Yep.
I heard
This,
it. Yeah.
Yep, this is what happens when you attack an enemy with 3 or more
Okay.
stacks. The enemy basically overcharges and releases the lightning around him, dealing damage and having a chance to stun. You can see the guy on the left is already stunned. He's like doing the dance move there. And yep, that's for the first ability. The second ability is a simple AoE, which deals damage and also has a chance to stun. You might have noticed this weapon is really focused on crowd control, because if you get shocked, you know what happens. And the third ability is basically a repurposed rifle butt. It deals electric damage alongside the physical, and it also has a big chance to stun, 35% chance to stun for 4.5 seconds. Yep, you can see this guy stunned. So yeah, very heavily inspired from the Arc Welder in the old game. A lot of electrical damage, and I hope you guys enjoy that one. As for the
ranges, it's pretty decent. I think this is out to.
I mean, I'm enjoying it already. It's pink.
Yeah, and the visuals are absolutely bombastic on this one. I love them so
I
much.
just embrace the meme for a moment and say, "Atta the power!"
Yep, it is this guy.
Somebody clip that for me, please.
Yeah.
I do that as my text message tone on Slack.
Those guys are close together, so it's not obvious. But just so you guys know,
Oh, that needs fixing. Oopsie.
Yep. But it is a cylinder attack, so wherever your target is, you'll blast everybody between yourself and that target.
Oh, that's amazing. That looks so cool.
All right, so that's the first part of the set.
Yeah, and now we go on to the defensive gear. Let's go with the armor first. The armor. So somebody earlier mentioned that it would the emergence teleport would be very good against the Borg. Well, would you look at that? This is also very tailored against the Borg, because technically in the Elite Force games, your main enemies are the Borg. So this is a relatively standard armor with like its normal defensive ability, defensive stats, but it also focuses a lot on the defense against the plasma damage that the Borg deal, and also a lot of defensive against the against roots and knockback effects, because you don't want to get flung around while you're fighting the Borg. But if you do happen to get flung around, you can see when affected by crowd or knock effect, control knock effects, you gain 40% increased energy damage and 25% all energy damage resistance for 6 seconds. So if you do happen to get CC'd, you can retaliate very hard against your enemies. And this can only trigger once every 15 seconds.
There's a lot of talk in the chat. I do want to confirm that this comes with a costume unlock. It is intended to anyway. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get it set up for this character, so we'll get that information included when we actually publicize this. I think we're going to do a dev blog probably sometime soon. But yes, the Elite Hazard team should have a costume unlock. Because I didn't get it hooked up, I don't know if it's actually fully functional. So we'll see. If it's not there at launch, it'll be there shortly after. But there is intended to be a costume that you can wear with this. Yes.
Don't worry, it will be there.
It's basically it's a lot like just an armored-looking TNG uniform. You can kind of see it here in the icon with some cool straps.
I mean, honestly, it looks badass. And finally, for the shield. So, if you guys haven't used aiming before, now it's time to do so. While you're aiming, you gain 30% increased energy damage, and while you're not aiming, so at any other point, you gain 50% increased run speed. This was supposed to kind of emulate what you do in first-person games, first-person shooter games, because like obviously while you're aiming, like you're focusing on dealing a lot of damage, but while you're not, you try to move around as much as possible, especially in older games. For example, like let's say Doom or Star Trek Elite Force or Duke Nukem, etc., etc. So this is why this is what was the inspiration of this shield, and also it has your standard shield, defense percent, and regeneration. And
And
let's
then
move
there
on to
are set bonuses, right?
yeah, exactly. Let's move on to the set bonus. Again, inspired from Elite Force, we have the anabolic protoplazers on the 2-piece set bonus. This is your emergency lifeline, basically. And if your health falls below 30%, you start healing 20% of your maximum HP per second for 5 seconds. So this equals 100% HP in 5 seconds. So this is basically to prevent you from getting melted. So this like helps you out in a pinch.
It's not a guarantee because it will, it takes 5 seconds to get back to full health. But and there is also a cooldown. Do you remember how frequently this can trigger?
I believe it triggers every 2 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
not always there, but it's a nice safety net to kind of help keep you alive.
Mm-hmm.
And then the
And we have the 3-piece, which is very unique. Whenever you're aiming, while you're aiming, sorry, your Borg enemies cannot adapt to your weapons. So this is something big, and this really encourages like aiming because if you can constantly deal full damage to the Borg, you can probably imagine what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
And I do also want to call out, this might not be obvious to people, but since it is a 3-piece bonus, it does require you have the welder, the arc welder equipped, but it doesn't mean that that's the only weapon you can use this with. You can have the arc welder equipped and use a different weapon and still gain this benefit while aiming with that secondary weapon, as long as the arc welder is still in your offhand set.
mm-hmm, exactly. So
Very
have it
handy
as
for the
a
current,
secondary.
for some of the enemies in the current arc, right? The kings and queens.
Hint, hint, hint.
Indeed,
Mhm.
indeed. Aiming is, to answer your question in the chat, aiming is when you press X, not B. B is to change into shooter mode.
Right.
And X is to aim downsides. So yeah.
And if you didn't know, there's also crouch, which gives you some defensive bonuses if you hold still and crouch. We didn't
We
get a
are
set.
actually going to have a series in a few months where we explain some of these basics to people, so you can have something like this to learn these kind of things.
Phil, do you play on console, right, primarily? Do you
Yeah.
remember the key press to do aim on console, or is it just always on? I don't remember.
Oh, no, I don't at this point in time.
I'm sure it exists, though.
Yes, it will do.
Somebody is saying it's left trigger in
Good.
chat.
Thanks,
Cool.
chatters. You're real.
True.
You're the real
All right.
man.
So that is the event reward that you'll get. The season event is a 30-day event. So you'll need to, I believe that means progress is 20 days. Man, it's been a while since I set up one of those. And then you'll receive this full set on completing that event.
We had a question earlier, and somebody asked if this works properly with Tenavik's council.
I don't recall what
This was for
Tenavik's
the
council
weapon.
does off the top of my head. So I can't really say for certain, but if somebody can remind me of the functionality of that, or do either of you remember?
No, I can't really name that.
There are so many abilities in the game. That's just not one that I created. So trying to remember them all is a challenge.
All right, I'm working on it. It's a trait.
Let me answer it this way. If you think that it should, then it probably should.
Apparently, it adds dot to an anti-proton weapons and dots. Oh, adds
Yes.
dot attacks. It probably does then, yeah. Because the first ability, it applies the damage over time. So if it's properly marked as damage over time, then yeah, it should trigger.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, you can tag Jeremy personally in our Discord.
Or Alex. Although
Yes.
I don't know if he's in the Discord.
I am in the Discord. It's under Sonic parentheses Deca.
Phil, are you in the Discord and want people to know how to get in touch with you? It's dangerous.
Yeah, I'm in the Discord. I'm under my just normal Discord name, which is Philip G. Harris. So
All right. Yeah, otherwise you can usually identify Deca people by the yellow Wall color, and also you can tag by the wall, but I would really recommend you don't, because that gets you in trouble with me. But you can always tag, if you're not sure if you should tag a dev about something, you can always tag me and I'll pass it on to the team, or I will talk to a dev personally. So I would always recommend doing that first, because these people are very busy bringing awesome items like the ones you've seen today. And it's kind of my job to filter all the messages. So I pass on the fangirling and the critique equally.
I
The
think that's
things
all
that
we
you
have to
miss,
go on.
the things you miss are when like Alex is trying to show me how something's going to like proc, and he's like firing the weapon again and again and again, and it's not procking at all. And
swear it
he's
worked.
going, yes, it should do.
Then
That was great.
sometimes the RNG gets me in this game. I just can't get something to proc for the life of me.
You know what? I don't think I showed the tooltip for the weapon, so you guys can see that.
Yeah, please do so.
And
All
again,
right,
get
but
your
while I have
screenshots.
Alex and Phil here, another question that's more my interest. Is there an item you really want to bring into the game that's not in the pipeline? Just something you think is really cool personally.
Well, I've already said I want to do a completely mind-based science ship. So, you can believe me, that's going to be a winter or a summer ship, because I don't think Jeremy's going to allow me to do it at any other time.
Well, it all comes
So
down
you're
to a
going to
lot
have
of
to wait.
support, right? We have to make
Yes,
sure that
exactly.
it's basically going to hinge on what we do with the console, what we do with the trait, what we do
Yeah.
with any other abilities that come with that ship, if it has any. Like
One
special
of the
mining
reasons.
pets, maybe if it's got a hanger or something like that.
Yeah, one of the reasons that mine ships are sort of harder is that any of the specialized skill sets that the player can get don't really concentrate on mines. And one of the things I have also talked to Jeremy about is whether we can modify like some of those so that they include mines as well. But we'd have to decide which set though that went with logically.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some other like questions there. So yeah, a science mine carrier. Although I got quite close with the Ark Royal.
I've seen people make pet builds out of the Ark Royal. I have a feeling that there's at least one workable mine build out there that's been made for it.
Yeah, it's almost like I made that space trait for it.
What
And
about you, Alex? What have you been
yeah,
hoping to get?
for me, as I mentioned a bit earlier, I'm a massive fan of melee stuff, so I would like to do some more unique melee weapons with like unique geos, for example. You know, maybe double claws or something like double daggers. It's not, we already have the INRs, but we'll see. But yeah, more unique ground content, because I'm mostly focused on that, and I just really enjoy that side, even though space is our main like point of interest for players. But I just want to entertain ground players more.
It was the double blades you did for last winter, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what I mentioned. Yeah, they're very similar to daggers anyway. Now that I think about it, but yeah.
I'd love to be able to support melee with like new animations when we can find time in our pipeline. You know, our animating team is usually pretty preoccupied with cutscene work, but it's nice to be able to do new flashy weapon animations when they're available, when their time is available, rather.
Yeah, that's always the issue, right? We had a question earlier, I think, that would get the same answer of if we ever have time. But some people ask about if some old uniforms will ever get a rework or like a bit of an update, especially related to the newer uniforms we released recently.
Well, that's more of a question for, I think, our art pipeline, which I believe you're doing a stream with Thomas in the near future, aren't you? So it might be better to ask him about that, about
Hopefully.
costume stuff. I will say though, right now, our character pipeline, character art is just a general catch-all term for like costumes and weapons and basically anything that is a wearable that's not a ship. All that kind of falls under character work. And as Phil already hinted at, we're working on some new enemies, which we internally call critters, which are also taking up a lot of character time right now. So we have to prioritize that against costumes. I do know that there's been some internal conversations about the way in which some of our older costumes have aged poorly, but I don't think that we're taking any action to resolve that in the immediate future. I think we have other things that we need to be spending our time on for the time being.
But that does mean you guys can see we do see these conversations happening, and I do pass this kind of feedback on to. It's just rarely something we can prioritize at this point in time. All right, we're getting towards the end of it, so you guys can ask us any last questions. Meanwhile, I want to
Free for
say
all.
yes.
There's a question about the dilithium exchange. I don't think we have plans to talk about that at the moment, but I can say that there's been some conversations going on behind the scenes. Multiple people on both Cryptic and Deca side are aware of concerns about, especially when it comes to the dilithium Zen exchange, like the amount of time it takes for the transactions to go through because of the state of the economy, yada, yada, yada. We talk about it, but I don't think we're ready to talk about if we have any plans just yet. Just know that we're aware and we discuss it internally when, in the interest of trying to find improvements that we can execute on.
I promise I'm making sure they can't forget about it, because every week I have a presentation about what you guys are saying, and almost every week I mention something about it. So we definitely do keep it in mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a bit more of a complex issue that we can't fix with a quick update.
I saw somebody comment about Hellbore is still undergoing some tweaks under the hood. There's right now it's overperforming. We fixed the cap per proc, but then right now it's overperforming because the explosion that it does isn't obeying the proper lockout. And so when you have a bunch of instances and damage that get applied in the same frame, it's doing a bunch of explosions, and that kind of has a knock-on effect with it very quickly just scales out of hand. That is a bug that is on my plate to try and fix in all my copious free time, but hoping to get something like that updated very soon. I will say that, like, just as a peek behind the curtain kind of process stuff, our big update, our big content push is coming out next week, which means everybody has been focused on making sure that that's as clean and polished of an experience as possible, so that when you guys log in on launch day, you can have a good experience, not have to experience any bugs with it. So a few of these issues, like the Hellbore, they've had to be pushed to the back burner for the time being, but we'll get back to it. Many people on the team have the entire launch week just basically scheduled for live support and bug fixing. So yeah, hopefully there will be time in the very near future to revisit some of these things that we recently haven't had a lot of time for. Fingers crossed.
Nice. Yeah, that answers the question of the Trafalgar console too, which I've also seen popping up.
Mm-hmm. Same sort of thing. Like, actually, Phil and I have been just recently talking about the Trafalgar, but we're holding off on tweaking it until after our big release is out. We just have other priorities right now.
Yeah, it's partially done, but it also needs to go. So to explain the process, it needs to go through our QA team, because when we do something like that, we really, really want a whole bunch of people to have hands-on on it, so that we get it right when we like upgrade and like enhance it. But as I was saying to our amazing like community like manager, anything in that enhancement is an enhancement. We are not nerfing anything on that.
Yeah, the focus on the Trafalgar is to make it better, but not make it too good, right? That's one of the challenges that we face when we want to improve something, when we want to buff it. We have to make sure we're not swinging too far and creating new
It's one of
problems
those times when Jeremy says, can you just like buff it with this? And I'm like, yes, that's absolutely like fine. It should be easy, says Jeremy. They should be tagged all over the place. And then I'm flipping through every lance in the game to see that everything has been set up correctly. So yeah, it will come soon.
Never trust it when I say it should be easy. That's the lesson to take from this.
All right.
So somebody's asking what the specific changes are. We're not ready to discuss them just yet. I think they're still kind of in flight. But look out soon. They'll definitely be in patch notes as soon as they're ready, which hopefully will be, let me go out on a limb and say within the next 3 to 4 weeks, tops, you'll be able to have these changes in your hand.
Well, you can hold them to that on our Discord. All right, somebody asked about mud bundles. There's obviously another mud bundle coming. But first, we're pushing out our new content. Reminder that is next week. I hope all of you took Tuesday off to see our wonderful stream and to play the new content. And obviously to work towards the great event rewards we just showed you. There's going to be a stream next Tuesday, same time as always. We'll have Jeremy here again. We'll have some of our... No. It's you or pandas. I don't want to do it without you guys. So one of you always has to be on stream with me, unless
Sometimes
of course
both.
it's our great content creators. Yeah, sometimes both. Then you don't need me anymore. No, but we're gonna be there with our creative director and some other great developers, and play through the new content, show it off to you guys, give you a little bit of behind the scenes. Maybe if Thomas is there, he can tell you about how hard this was to do and how much work we all put into it, because that's what I've been hearing during playtesting a lot. No, it looks, I can already tell you this much, guys, it looks amazing. It's a great story. There's a lot of hard work that went into this, just like it did into the items you saw today. We have some really cool guests on there. Director Hugh is back. Then we have Jerry Ryan back. God, did I say that right? Yes, Jerry Ryan is back. There's also Mary, how do you say that? Chifo?
Yes, Mary Chifo.
Yes. So definitely some people you will enjoy seeing again. We even worked with the Klingon Language Institute just to make sure that everything is right with the Klingon that we included. So yeah, everyone put a ton of work into this. So I hope you'll enjoy it as much as I did already, because I don't have to work hard on it. I can just watch.
Somebody asked if it
All
is a
right.
long episode, and I can say yes. I know some of you out there won't enjoy that answer. Others of you will be like, "Yeah, I love a good long episode." This one is extremely meaty. We'll talk more about this when we're actually live streaming it, but the overall scope, the size of everything that we're implementing for this season in terms of content is, we set out with pretty ambitious goals, and then they grew over time to be even more ambitious, and we've learned some lessons from that moving forward.
It's definitely worth spending the time on it. I hope you guys will enjoy it with us. We'll play through it, and it just means that there's a lot of time for everyone to talk about the work they did on it. Maybe we'll play it with some content creators in the weeks after. So definitely gonna be some more streams coming. There will be a bit of a break after the release, just so I can also do some other great work. And just a reminder that if you have any feedback regarding these items or the ships we released this month or the upcoming episode, put it to us on our Discord. I look through that very regularly, especially regarding recent releases. And if you don't feel like I've paid attention to an important bug that you think should be fixed right now, just tag me. Can't promise it will be fixed right now, but I will tell someone about it right now. And yes, that's pretty much it from our end. The event blog will be up in a few days, so you can get all the details for what we just showed you there. And then I'll see you guys again next week.
All right, well, that was an interesting stream going over the new Lobi items and the event reward. We will be going over those when they release it, so look out for those, my caps. Do us a favor, hit the like button on this video to help the channel, to help the overall video, and then comment below. Let me know your thoughts on the items that we'll be getting. I'm interested to know your thoughts. I mean, for me personally, the Lobi items are okay. The ground set, it's okay. Nothing that I think I'm going to be jumping for joy for, but I'm happy that we're getting it. And again, another item from Star Trek, I believe it was Elite Force, coming again to Star Trek Online. So that said, caps, we're going to leave it on this note.
Live long and prosper.